Pragati Bhagini, you can start the Dhyana Shloka.
Okay. Okay, ma'am, I will start. ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्ससुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलम् गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधना बोधितम् लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरहः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। हरि ओम्।
धन्यवादः भगिनी। Namaste. Today being Guru Purnima, I thought it is important that we do something about paying our salutations to the Guru Parampara, Vande Guru Parampara. So let us chant Guru Stotram. Those of you who know the Guru Stotram can definitely chant. Otherwise, at least you can follow. So today I am skipping the Gita chanting, the 11th chapter chanting, and instead actually chanting Guru Stotram because today is Guru Purnima. And also Swami Paramarthananda gave a talk today. The video recording is actually put up in this site. So in case people want to listen to this, you can definitely go ahead and listen to it. It will be there for 7 days. I hope everybody is able to hear me. अखण्डमण्डलाकारम् व्याप्तं येन चराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। स्थावरं जङ्गमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सर्वश्रुतिशिरोरत्न विराजितपदाम्बुजः वेदान्ताम्बुजसूर्यो यः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। चैतन्यशाश्वतः शान्तो व्योमातीतो निरञ्जनः बिन्दुनादकलातीतः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ज्ञानशक्तिसमारूढः तत्त्वमाला विभूषितः भुक्तिमुक्तिप्रदाता च तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अनेकजन्मसम्प्राप्त कर्मबन्धविदाहिने आत्मज्ञानप्रदानेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। शोषणं भवसिन्धोश्च ज्ञापनं सारसम्पदः गुरोः पादोदकं सम्यक् तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। न गुरोरधिकं तत्त्वं न गुरोरधिकं तपः तत्त्वज्ञानात् परं नास्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मन्नाथः श्रीजगन्नाथः मद्गुरुः श्रीजगद्गुरुः मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुरादिरनादिश्च गुरुः परमदैवतम् गुरोः परतरं नास्ति तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ परं वरिष्ठं ब्रह्मिष्ठं परमानन्दरूपिणं परमार्थानन्दयतिं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। So in the last two classes, we saw that Vishwarupa Darshanam of God is not seeing a new or extraordinary thing, but seeing the way the same universe, the very same universe in a different way or a new way, right? Seeing the very same universe. So there is no change in the object of experience. There is a change in the way that we experience the object, which is the world. So that way, it makes it Vishwarupa Darshanam, because what I saw as Vishwam, now I learned to see the body of the Lord. So in Sanskritam, it is Vishwam eva rupam shariram yasya saha. It's a Bahuvirihi Samasa, Vishwarupa Darshanam. So, and once I look upon the world as the very Ishvara itself, my attitude towards the world is reverential. So I feel the presence of Lord not only in a particular temple or in a particular place, but the entire world, right? So that's what we were seeing, and at any point in time, there is no question of being away from the Lord, right? Or being close to the Lord also. You are always the same. It is just as a wave need not do anything to claim that it is the ocean or enjoy the presence of the ocean, right? So the wave is always in the presence of the ocean only. Similarly, I am always in the presence of the Lord. So to have Ishvara Darshanam, I don't have to go anywhere. I need not even close my eyes, because whatever I am experiencing is Ishvara only. So if the change of attitude should take place, we require a Divya Chakshuhu, which is freeing the mind of twofold obstacles, right? One is the obstacle called ignorance. Because of this ignorance, I thought world is one place and God is in some other place. I thought that the God and world are separate entities. Sorry, I'm mixed up. I thought God and world are separate entities. If I remember the teaching of the 7th, 9th and 10th chapters, right, then I know that God and world are not two separate things, because God is the para apara prakriti combination, and that alone is expressing in the form of the world. So God is the world, right? And world is the God. So this knowledge is very, very crucial. So the first obstacle is ajnanam or ignorance, and so jnana samskara is very important, which will remove the ajnanam, right? So the ajnanam of this fact is a first obstacle for Vishwarupa Darshan. The second block that we covered in the last class is strong ahankara and mamakara, right? The notion, right, that I am the body-mind complex, right? And these are my properties, this is my family, this is my profession, these are all my possessions, and this is my body, my mind, and I need to be happy, I need to do this, and where I is my body and my mind, right? So the raga dvesha is what is coloring my vision, right? And I am always preoccupied and I cannot enjoy the Vishwarupam. In all the Veda mantras, Bhagavan's description, if you see, is the same as the description of nature. Whether it is, say, Rudram or whether it is Purusha Suktam, right? In most of the places, if you see, the description of the Bhagavan is nothing but the description of nature. And we don't have that facility or ability to enjoy, because the mind is constantly preoccupied by personal and family affairs. And so even if we go and sit in a garden, right, instead of watching the nature, the birds, the trees and the plants, we end up being absorbed in our worries, which are related to son, daughter, family, etc., right? So as Swamiji says, it's a great achievement of being in samadhi all the time, a different kind of samadhi, family samadhi, right? So whether you sit straight and do meditation, or whether you go out and enjoy, or you go on a vacation, or you go to an ashram, right? And be in the Rishikesh ashram next to the Ganges, the worries just accompany you. This is because of aham mama, and that has to be eliminated by karma yoga and upasana yoga. So that is the Divya Chakshuhu that we have to acquire. And Arjuna here is blessed because Lord Krishna has given that Divya Chakshuhu temporarily, right? Jnanam part he is already received because he went through the teachings in 7th, 9th and 10th chapter, right? So Arjuna's enjoyment of Vishwarupa is temporary, right? So Arjuna, actually you will see that towards the end Arjuna will say, I don't want Vishwarupa Darshanam, right? The same Arjuna who prayed to Lord Krishna begging him for Vishwarupa Darshanam, by the end of the chapter will say, I don't want Vishwarupa Darshanam, right? So with the help of Bhagavan's Divya Chakshuhu, Arjuna is experiencing the Vishwarupa Darshanam, and that internal transformation stuns Arjuna, and so there was a silence. So neither Lord Krishna nor Arjuna talked, and then Sanjaya took the opportunity and gave the Vishwarupa Darshanam description from verses 9 to 14, and then Arjuna started describing from verse 15, right? We completed verses 15 and 16, right? And this is actually the part of wonderment, right? So wonderment is from verses 15 to 22, and thereafter we will slowly see the fear setting into Arjuna, and then you will see the Sharanagati. This entire transformation we see in this chapter, right? So in 15 and 16 Arjuna talked about, in your body I see all the gods as well as hosts of celestial beings, I'm seeing countless forms, etc., right? O Lord, with the universal form, Vishwarupa, Vishweshwara, he said, right? So let's continue with it. Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha, Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha, Tejo rashim sarvato deeptimantam, Tejo rashim sarvato deeptimantam, Pashyami tvam durnireksham samantat, Pashyami tvam durnireksham samantat, Deeptanalarkadyutim aprameyam, Deeptanalarkadyutim aprameyam. Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha, right? There are so many with, celestial beings with Kiritinam, Gada, Chakra, etc., right? Many celestial beings have this. And here we have Lord Krishna, right? Even in the, and they all, what he's saying is, all these celestial beings who have Kiritinam, Gadinam, Chakrinam, all of them belong to you only. I can see that. You are the owner of everything. Who is addressing Lord Arjuna? Is addressing Lord Krishna, saying so many celestial beings are there, which is what we covered in the last week's class. All of those celestial beings are wearing Kiritinam, Gadinam, Chakrinam, all of them, right? And all of them belong to you only. So as Swamiji puts it, he says, that's why in the daily Arati, we, in order to develop that attitude, we say, it's a very nice way of putting it. This is the Jai Jagadisha Hare Arati, where it goes this way. Tan man dhan sab hai tera, Swami sab kuch hai tera. So tan man, right? My body, I will not call mine. It's all yours, right? That is yours. And actually, Pujya Swamiji jocularly says, we offer our body to Bhagavan every day. So Bhagavan knows that the Bhakta has given this body on one day, and then next day he again gives the same body, right? So it is only lip service when we are saying that the Tana, Mana, Dana, everything is Tera, Bhagavan's, right? So what is required is surrendering unto the Lord completely, right? And in reality, truthfully, right? So surrender can happen only once then, if we are able to surrender, right? That's why in the Bhakti literature, Navavidha Bhakti is talked about, right? Sarvanam Kritanam Vishwosmaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam, right? So the final stage of Bhakti is the surrender of the very Ahankara and Mamakara. And after the 9th stage of Bhakti, there is no further stage, because once Atma Nivedanam is over, there is nothing else, right? So coming back to our shloka, Kiritinam, Gadam, Shankha, Chakra, all of them are yours. Tejo Rashim Sarvato Deeptimantam. You are a mass effulgence which is brilliantly shining all over in the form of stars, planets, and fire. So your brilliance is everywhere. Sarvato Deeptimantam. You are so brilliant, especially as the sun, the mid-noon sun, which is so brilliant. So therefore, Arjuna says, Durniriksham, I cannot even look at you because of your extraordinary brilliance. Deepta Nalarka Dyuti Aprameyam. Anala means fire, Arka means Surya. So you've got the brilliance of the fire, a huge fire, and you've got the brilliance of the sun, and therefore Durniriksham, right? It is glaring, it is dazzlingly brilliant, right? So that is why if you see in the Purana, Yashoda is asking Krishna to open his mouth, and Krishna in his Vishwarupa Ishwara form gives darshanam to Yashoda, and she is stunned for a minute, right? Because it is Bhagavan showing up as the world there, right? Inside the small baby mouth, right? So Aprameyam means immeasurable in dimensions in all ways, beyond the sense organs, right? Not discernible. Continuing. Tvamaksharam paramam veditavyam. Tvamaksharam paramam veditavyam. Tvamasya vishwasya param nidanam. Tvamasya vishwasya param nidanam. Tvamavyashashvata dharma gopta. Tvamavyashashvata dharma gopta. Sanatanastvam purusho mato me. Sanatanastvam purusho mato me. So, hey Krishna, now I understand that you are not a small person to be born on one day and gone on another day, right? That Krishna Shariram is a temporary Maya Manusham Vesham. It is an avatara, but the real you are not born, and you are the Jagat Karanam. So the beginningless cause of the universe, from whom this Srishti, Sthiti and Layam, everything takes place. So Arjuna describes Tvam Asya Vishwasya Param Nidanam, right? The second part of the shloka. See, for the entire universe, you are the support. Support means sthiti karanam, right? Because you are the cause of creation, shrishti, sthiti and laya, just as the waves rise from the ocean and rest in the ocean and resolve in the ocean, similarly, the galaxies rise from you, the galaxies exist in you and they resolve unto you, right? You are Vishwa Adharam. Nidanam means support. Tvam Avyayaha, you are inexhaustible or immortal, and Shashwata Dharmagopta, you alone are the protector or maintainer of the cosmic laws of the creation. The creation, if you see, is governed by several laws, right? Scientists are discovering one by one. Take, gravitational law, right? All of these. Now, the entire universe is governed by several of these laws. So here Shashwata Dharmagopta refers to all laws, celestials, dharmic laws, everything, right? You are the administrator, protector of the eternal order of the universe, the eternal rhythm of the universe. Why is the sun going around and why is the earth going around? The sun also moves, right? In the if you look at those the cosmology depictions, the animations, it's very beautiful. Everything is moving in a different dimension, right? And the time and space itself is very different in different galaxies and different planets, right? So the eternal rhythm of the universe is being maintained by the God, right? So Arjuna says that, oh Lord, you are the Dharmagopta, right? So, and then other than these laws, you have the law of karma, law of dharma, or punyam and papam, right? Every event that happens in my life is based on the law of karma, right? Certain events we are not able to explain at all. So our immediate tendency is what? To blame. We say, oh, Bhagavan is so unjust, etc. Right? No, not at all, right? It is just that the law of karma is acting and the prarabdha has fructified at the beginning of our janma, and we have to allow it to exhaust, right? We can do some karmas to influence it, but to what extent we will be able to influence the prarabdhas which are already mature and which are fructified and are in motion, is the ability to influence is limited, right? So, and we keep saying, oh, I do regular puja, I'm very nice to people, right? But we don't know, right, what is the karma that is acting at this point in time, right, as per the law of karma. So all of these is being managed by or administered by the Ishvara, right? So Tvam Avyayaha Shashwata Dharmagopta, you perfectly maintain the physical and moral laws of the universe, and Sanatanastvam Purusho, you maintain eternal dharma because you are also eternal, right? That is why our religion is called Sanatana Dharma, Vaidika Dharma, right? So Arjuna says you are not only Ekarupa Ishvara, Mr. Krishna, that I understand, and I also understand you are Vishwarupa Ishvara. From the Upanishad I come to know, because he is still not understood, we must remember that, right? So from the Upanishad I come to know that you are also the Arupam Brahma, Nirgunam Brahma, right? And here referred to as Aksharam, right? So that's why the 8th chapter was titled actually Akshara Yoga, Brahma Yoga, right? So Brahman is called Aksharam, the changeless and eternal consciousness principle here, right? So in Shastra, we talk about two types of eternity. We must remember this. One is the changing eternity. I'm actually repeating a concept that we've already seen. One is a changing eternity, which is the Apara Prakriti, which we called in the 7th chapter, and the other one is a changeless eternity. So matter comes under changing eternity, right? Because it is matter also cannot be created or destroyed, it is eternal, right? But it changes from one form to another, right? From macro to micro, matter to energy, different forms of energy, etc., right? So at macro level, within the Surya, with the galaxies changes, everything is happening. Therefore, matter is called Parinami Nityam, changing but eternal. Whereas Vedanta says there is another eternal principle which is called consciousness, the 5 features we have seen, and that is referred to here as Aksharam, right? That changeless eternal consciousness is the ultimate nature of Ishvara, who is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, right? This alone, here it is called Aksharam. So, O Lord, you are the ultimate truth of the changeless consciousness principle, right? Continuing. Yeah. So in this regard, if you see in Mundaka Upanishad, there is this word Aksharam which is introduced, and there is also a complete definition of Aksharam, if you see. So those of you who are interested might make a note of this. Anyway, it's there in the slide also. So Aksharam is defined here as Yattad Adreshyam Agrahyam Agotram Avarnam Achakshutshotram Tatpadi Panipadam Nityam Vibhum Sarvagatam Susukshmam Tadavyayam Yad Bhutayonim Paripashyanti Dhiraha. So Brahman is that which cannot be perceived, which cannot be grasped, which is without a source, without properties, without eyes and ears, without hands and legs, which is timeless, all pervading and very subtle, and which becomes many, which is imperishable, which is the material cause of all the beings, and which the discriminative ones see everywhere. So in Mundaka Upanishad, we see this definition of Aksharam. That Aksharam alone, Krishna is being referred to as by Arjuna, right? So Arjuna says, hey Krishna, you are that Aksharam. Right? So from Eka Rupa to Aneka Rupa to Arupa Ishvara, he has gone. Right? Continuing. Anadimadhyanta Ananta Viryam. Anadimadhyanta Ananta Viryam. Ananta Bahum Shashi Surya Netram. Anantabahum Shashi Surya Netram Pashyami Tvam Deepta Hutasha Vaktram Pashyami Tvam Deepta Hutasha Vaktram Swatejasa Vishwamidam Tapantam Swatejasa Vishwamidam Tapantam. So Anadi Madhyanta is the repetition of the same idea that we saw in 16th verse, right? Nantam na madhyam na punastavadim. So same idea, because Arjuna is overwhelmed and therefore he is blurting out, right? It's not a very planned composition. So Arjuna pours out his feelings. So he is saying again, he repeats, you are without a beginning, a middle or an end. Your powers are also infinite. All the forces of nature are your own expression only. Whether it is a earthquake under the sea and the tsunami formation and then water traveling so far, whether it is that, or whether you take volcano or anything, volcanic eruptions or any of them, all of them are Ishvara only, right? So they are all expressions of Ishvara only. So he says Bhagavan's power is so huge. So he's talking about Ananta Viryam, Ananta Bahum, or infinite number of hands, because all hands are his hands only, right? And Shashi Surya Netram, the sun and the moon, we look upon as the eyes of the Lord, right? Because the eyes are meant to reveal objects, and sun and moon also reveal objects by throwing their light. Sun during the day and moon in the night, right? Therefore, in the scriptures, sun and moon are described as eyes of Vishwarupa Ishvara, right? And then, of course, on Amavasa night, you don't have both. So then what will reveal? It is Agni, right? So Agni reveals the objects when sun and moon are absent. So therefore here Soma Suryagni Lochanaya, we say, right? Soma Suryagni Lochanaya Namaha. All three are in the form of eyes, right? So in many Sahasranamas we see this Surya, Agni, Lochanaya, right? So in Vishnu Sahasranamam, as I said, you get Eka Rupa Ishvara and then Vishwarupa Ishvara also in the Dhyana Shlokam. We saw that several times, right? and we look upon Bhagavan in Vishnu Sahasranamam as a person who is in Vaikuntha Loka and who is in Ananta Shayanam, right? And then the beautiful Lord is, you know, sitting there with Lakshmi Devi next to him, right? So therefore, there also, if you see, you can see that the famous shloka which I have repeated so many times, which is Bhup Padau Yasya Nabir Vyada Suranilash Chandra Suryocha Netre, right? Karna Vasha, it goes like that. And then Chitram Ram Ramyate Tam Tribhuvana Vapusham Vishnumisham Namami, right? The Tribhuvanam, the three lokas are the Bahuhu, the body of the Lord. Vishnumisham, right? I am doing namaskaram to that Vishnu, right? So here coming back to this shloka, Shashi Surya Netram, and then Arjuna's sight falls on the mouth of the Lord, right? We are going to see the mouth of the Lord represents the Kala Tattvam and the destructive principle which swallows everything. And Arjuna looks at the mouth and which is full of fire, right? Deepta Hutasha Vakram, Deepta Hutasha Vakram. Hutasha means Agnihi, right? And Agnihi is called Hutasha. You know why? Because Agnihi consumes the oblations, right? So Hutam means oblations. When we give oblations, you must have seen Purnahuti, right? It consumes everything, the Agni, right? So therefore Agni is called Hutashavaha, right? And that is the very mouth of the Lord, right? So in fact, in Rudram we say there is a particular verse which goes Kalagni Rudraya Kalagni Rudraha. Rudra is Pralaya Kala Agnihi, which swallows everything, and Bhagavan's mouth is described as Agni Tattvam, right? And it is so fiery that the heat coming from the fire, the Kala Agnihi, scorches everything in the creation. Therefore, Arjuna says, Swatejasa, because of the heat of the Kala Tattvam, Idam Vishwam Tapantam, the entire creation is scorched or affected. Right? What does this mean? As we are growing older day by day, we are getting closer to Yamadharma Raja, and nobody can escape the ticking time. That is symbolically presented as the heat of the fire, and fire meaning Kala Tattvam here, which is scorching everyone. See, I see you as one who has no beginning, middle or end, who has limitless power, who has countless arms, whose eyes are the moon and the sun, whose mouth is the blazing fire, and who scorches this universe with your radiance. Continuing. Dhyava prithivyoridamantaram hi, Dhyava prithivyoridamantaram hi, Vyaptam tvayekena dishascha sarvaha, Vyaptam tvayekena dishascha sarvaha, Drishtvaadbhutam roopamugram tavedam, Drishtvaadbhutam roopamugram tavedam, Lokatrayam pravyaditam mahatman, Lokatrayam pravyaditam mahatman. So, hey Mahatman, Arjuna addressing the Lord. Mahatma means the Lord whose body is infinite in size, right? Here Atma means Shariram, not the Chaitanya Atma, right? Thanks to Shankaracharya, we are able to discern all these things, right? So, therefore, hey Mahatman, Dhyava Prithivyoho idam antaram tvaya vyaptam. The entire gap between the earth and the heaven, the upper side, it is pervaded by your body. It means you are vertically pervading everywhere. You are horizontally also pervading everywhere. Ekena, by you alone. Eka means one God. Sarvaha dishascha, right? In all the 8 directions, 4 main directions and also the intermediate directions. Everywhere your body is pervading. That means all the soldiers in front are also part of Bhagavan only. You must remember Arjuna is in the battlefield, right? So sarvaha dishascha tvaya vyaptam. And when I look initially, I appreciate your form as wonderful, right, from a distance. So therefore Arjuna uses the word adbhutam roopam. Your form is so beautiful. attractive and enjoyable. And suddenly I see death and destruction also. So natural calamities like we are seeing now, a form of virus, corona, earthquake, tsunamis, cyclones, in which there is terrible destruction also. Therefore, one side I feel like saying it is wonderful, and suddenly my mind changes. Therefore, I feel like describing you as Ugram. Ugram means fierce or fearful or Bhayankaram. Ugram Tavedam. So now you can see Arjuna's vision is changing gradually. Transition is happening from wonderment to fear. It is not yet fully transformed, but gradually it is getting shifted. So he uses the word, this is a transition shloka, he uses Adbhutam and Ugram, right? It's exactly like watching the Animal Planet. I really like the analogy that Swamiji gave. He says, the Animal Planet is so beautiful that sometimes they show, the one animal and another animal, how they live and how they prey each other, etc. Right? So there is a crocodile, right, which suddenly swoops and catches hold of one deer, right? And then they show the struggle of the deer. Now, you can see it with wonderment, or you can really get scared and worried and won't be able to see it also, because while one animal has got its food, the other animal is struggling, and the death is so slow, right? And deers are so beautiful by nature, so it is very difficult to see this at the same time, right? So some of them get caught suddenly and then they are slowly killed, right? So that is also Vishwarupa Ishvara. So Arjuna says, I don't know whether to say that both are you, O Lord. Rupam Ugram Tavedam, that is frightening also, right? And seeing terrible aspects now and then, Lokatrayam Pravyatitam, right? So we see the whole world, Lokatrayam in you, right? Pravyatitam, right? So anything and everything we see in you, both the good and the bad, right? So we see today we have an enjoyable birthday and we celebrate. The next day there's some problem, somebody is in hospital, they have an issue. Both we see, and both are manifestations of the Lord only. So now Arjuna's philosophy is changing, right? So Lokatrayam Pravyatitam, these terrible aspects of you, O Lord, all the three worlds, he doesn't want to say he's frightened, right? So he says all the three worlds are frightened, right? So when we say, when we enjoy, we say all of us are enjoying, right? Similarly, when we have a problem also, we say, oh, all of us are fearing, right? So Arjuna says, Lokatrayam Pravyatitam means shaken. Hey Mahatman, oh Lord, everybody around me is shaken, right? Continuing. अमीहित्वां सुरसङ्गा विशन्ति अमीहित्वां सुरसङ्गा विशन्ति केचित् भीता प्राञ्जलयो गृह्णन्ति केचित् भीता प्राञ्जलयो गृह्णन्ति स्वस्तीत्युक्त्वा महर्षि सिद्धसङ्गाः स्वस्तीत्युक्त्वा महर्षि सिद्धसङ्गाः स्तुवन्ति त्वां स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभिः स्तुवन्ति त्वां स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभिः. I think it is swastitva. Okay. Stuvanti tvam. I was wondering if I skipped a letter here. Okay. So Arjuna is able to visualize the terrible war which is going to take place sooner or later. It's happening. They are already in the battlefield. Millions died in the World War, etc. So here for that time, many lives were lost, right? So he knows. Arjuna says, Amihitva Surasangaha means these celestials, they're all born out of you and they're all entering into you because of death, right? So Shankaracharya writes in his commentary that the celestial refers to the Mahabharata soldiers of war only, because many devatas have taken birth on the earth for the sake of Dharma Yuddham, Dharma Samsthapanartham, right? So Pandavas themselves are manifestations of various devatas only. Therefore, here Surasanga means soldiers who are devas who have come down for this Yuddham, and all of them or many of them are seen entering your mouth, right? Kechit bitaha pranjalayo grinanti. And many are frightened of these scenes, and therefore they are joining their hands and praying to the Lord with fear and fearful devotion. So kechit bitaha, many are scared, right? Pranjalaya, with joined hands, grinanti, uttering your name, they are praying to you. There are many sages who understand that the world involves all these things, and right, especially manushyaha means there will be dharma, there will be adharma, there will be wars, and there will be inevitable wars. So the rishis understand that, and they see it as the play of the Lord. Therefore, Maharshi Siddha Sangaha. So sages and siddhas, swasti iti uktva. They cannot do anything. So they just said, say swasti, right? Let there be peace, and they move on, right? So regularly from both sides, people will die, right? And this will happen during the war, right? So the rishi says swasti, let there be peace, and we can only pray as individuals. We cannot control the total cosmos, right? Therefore, swasti iti uktva, right? Many sages and siddhas tuvanti, they pray to the Lord, talking about the glory of the Lord, because at the macro level, individuals cannot do anything, right? Bhagavan alone can handle macro affairs, right? That is why it is not worth getting too worried about macro affairs. The best we can do is pray to the Lord. Therefore, pushkalabihi stutibihi, through great hymns given in the Shastras, they pray to the Lord for the world peace, right? And the typical prayer that we use is swasti prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. So we can only pray, right? We cannot bring peace, or we cannot do anything about the global kind of macro level kind of happenings, right? So we can only pray to the Lord, and that's what the rishis do. Continuing. रुद्रादित्या वसवो ये च साध्याः रुद्रादित्या वसवो ये च साध्याः विश्वेश्विनो मरुतश्चोष्मपाश्च विश्वेश्विनो मरुतश्चोष्मपाश्च गन्धर्वयक्षासुरसिद्धसङ्गाः गन्धर्वयक्षासुरसिद्धसङ्गाः वीक्षन्ते त्वां विस्मिताश्चैव सर्वे वीक्षन्ते त्वां विस्मिताश्चैव सर्वे. So from these verses only we come to know that Arjuna has had not only an exalted vision but an extended vision, able to see beyond the normal range of perception. He is able to see the higher loka of the celestials, and in the higher lokas, the devatas are supposed to have greater purity of mind, and therefore they also appreciate Vishwarupa Ishvara, right? Therefore, Arjuna says that in the higher loka, many are appreciating your Vishwarupa, and who are those devatas who are appreciating? They are the Rudras, which we already saw, a group of devatas, Adityas, Dwadasha Aditya, Ekadasha Rudraha, Ashtavasavaha, another group of Devata Vasus, right? So whenever we say Devata, we must remember that they are also at some point in time have been human beings or Jiva only. We should say Jiva, right? Not human beings, they were Jiva only. Because of their Punyam, they got an opportunity to enjoy in the higher Loka. Now, if they don't take the opportunity and get Jnanam, they also will exhaust their punya and come back to Chennai, as Swamiji says, as Venkatraman or Krishnan or Raman only, right? They could have been Vasu, Aditya, any of them. But if they do not grab the opportunity and get Jnanam, right, then they also will exhaust their punyam and come back, right? So, like that, they have another group of devatas also, Sadhyaha, Pitridevataha, Vishve Devaha, right? Another group of devata. Ashwinau is a group of 2 devas, Ashwini Kumaraha, right? Then Marutaha is a group of 49 devataha, and Ushmapaha, Ushmapascha means Pitridevata, right? and Gandharva, Yaksha, Asura, Siddha Sangaha. Gandharva, Yaksha, Asura and Siddha Sangaha. All of them have different fields of experience and they are also appreciating Vishwarupa, right? And their expression is also that of wonderment, right? Vismitaha means they are all wonderstruck. Continuing. Rupam mahatte bahuvaktra netram. Rupam mahatte bahuvaktra netram. Mahabaho bahubahu rupam. Mahabaho bahubahu rupadam. Mahabaho bahubahu rupadam. Bahudaram bahudam shakaralam. Bahudaram bahudam shakaralam. Drishtva lokaha pravyatitattataham. Drishtva lokaha pravyatitattataham. So the same meter is continuing for a long time. You will see in chapter 11 alone, right? Because of the nature of the verses. Right? So with the previous words, the first stage of emotional response is over, which is one of the wonderment primarily. So a little bit of a warning here. The next few verses are a little dramatic and they describe very frightening scenes, right? So even though Arjuna had a glimpse of Bhagavan's mouth with the fire scorching, right? He was briefly frightened, but predominantly his response was one of wonderment. But now from the 23rd verse onwards, it's going to change because he's going to see the mouth of the Lord like zoomed, right? So mouth representing the Kala Tattvam, which brings in variety of painful experiences like old age, death, war, etc. Right? So therefore, Vyasacharya is actually zooming in now, like you use a zoom lens, right? So zooming into the mouth of the Bhagavan and the fire and the sharp teeth and the protruding canines, all are Bhayankaram, right? It's like a adults only movie kind, that ghost movie, right? That's the kind of emotions it would evoke. So they show a terrible scene, right? So Vyasacharya is going to describe this and he says, Arjuna says, Rupam Mahatte, O Lord, your form is infinite. You've got countless eyes and countless mouths, right? And mouth is used to represent the destructive principle. And Mahabaho, right? O Lord, with many powerful arms. Bahu Bahu Rupadam, right? I see countless hands and thighs and feet in front of me. Bahu Udaram, many tummies or stomachs are also I see, right? So all the stomachs and all the hands of all the people are Bhagavan's only. Bahu Damshtra Karalam, Arjuna's eyes get stuck in the mouth of the Lord, which is sharp and protruding. Right? Damshtra means sharp teeth coming out ready to bite. Right? It's again a symbolic language. He sees destruction, pain, etc. Drishtva, seeing that fierce, scary mouth of yours, lokaha pravyatitaha. Again, all the people are frightened, right? So, and Arjuna says, tataham, I am also frightened, right? Obviously, as I said, Arjuna doesn't want to show that he doesn't have courage because the whole world praises Arjuna for courage, right? So he says, all of us are worried, right? He does not want to leave himself out, but he doesn't want to say, I am scared, right? So, but Krishna does not want to leave Arjuna there. He wants Arjuna to scream in fear, right? He should say enough of this Vishwarupam, right? To that extent, he is going to frighten Arjuna. Continuing. Nabasprisham deeptamanekavarnam. Nabasprisham deeptamanekavarnam. Vyatananam deeptavishalanetram. Vyatananam deeptavishalanetram. Drishta hitva pravyatitantaratma. Drishtva hitvam pravyatitantaratma. धृतिं न विन्दामि शमं च विष्णो धृतिं न विन्दामि शमं च विष्णो. So he continues his description. He says, Sprisham, Nabha Sprisham Deeptam Aneka Varnam. Your form is touching the sky and the upper sky, the heaven. Deeptam, brilliant, and is of varieties of colors and forms. Aneka Varnam. Right? They talk about the aurora, the northern sky. All of that is a manifestation of the Lord only. Aneka Varnam, and then Vyatananam. He sees not one mouth of the Lord, but many mouths of the Lord with terrible protruding teeth, and all the mouth are also open, ready for eating. Deepta Vishala Netram, big scary eyes, just staring at the entire creation, ready to take and swallow, right? Drishtva hitvam pravyati tantaratma, right? I'm deeply shaken up, right? To his core, actually, Arjuna is shaken up, right? So, drishtva hitvam, right? By seeing the fierce mouth of yours, I'm deeply shaken up. I'm shivering. Pravyati tantaratma means the mind here, right? Pravyati tantaratma here means the mind, not Sachidananda Atma, right? Dhritim na vindami, my mind is no more steady, balanced or poised. Shamam cha Vishnoho, I don't have peace also. No balance, no peace. I'm shaken to the core. Dhamshtrakaralani cha te mukhani, Dhamshtrakaralani cha te mukhani, Drishtvaiva kalanalasanibhani, Drishtvaiva kalanalasanibhani, Disho na jane na labe cha sharma, Disho na jane na labe cha sharma, प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास, प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास. Te mukhani damshta karalani. Now actually is zooming on the mouth, right? So it's a plural number. So many mouths, mukhani. All your fierce mouth are karalani, frightening or scary, right? Because of damshtram, the sharp teeth. Right? It's like crocodile mouth, right? Drishtvaiva kala nalasannibhani. And it is like pralaya kala agnihi, scorching and burning. Kala analam means pralaya kala agnihi. Sannibhani, it is scorching. And seeing such, right? This is basically Vishwarupa Varnanam has symbolic aspects. Here, the dangers of life are symbolized as Bhagavan's mouth, right? So, seeing the dangerous mouth all over the creation, Disho na jane, I don't know where to run. Wherever I look, it is danger. I don't know where to go. Disho na jane. Na labe cha sharma, my mind is no more calm, is not happy or comfortable, right? And therefore, O Lord, you should only save me from this fear. He Devesha, O Lord, Jagannivasa, abode of the universe, Prasida, may you be gracious, right? So Arjuna says, I don't know where to go, right? So please, may you be gracious and bless me. The most courageous Arjuna is not able to confront this, right? It is getting worse, the descriptions. Ami chatvam dhritarashtrasya putraha, Ami chatvam dhritarashtrasya putraha, Sarve sahaivavani sangaihi, Sarve sahaivavani sangaihi, Bhishmo dronas suta putrastathaso, Bhishmo dronas suta putrastathaso, Sahasmadiyerapi yodhamukyaihi, Sahasmadiyerapi yodhamukyaihi. Another shloka which indicates that Divya Chakshuhu is not only exalted but extended on the time side also. Earlier he could see spatially beyond the Bhuloka, higher lokas, etc. Right? Now he has got time-wise expansion. He is able to see symbolically, right, all the people who are around in the war, right? So he's seeing many people entering the mouth of the Lord, and the entry of the mouth represents all these people are going to die, right? You will remember that in Mahabharata, finally even Abhimanyu gets surrounded in the Chakravyuha, right? So Arjuna is not getting into those details, but he sees many people having a gory death, which is symbolized here. So he says, Ami Dhritarashtrasya putraha, many Kauravas, which is a good news for him, right? Many Kauravas, Sahaiva Avina Pala Sangaihi, with many other small kings, because at that time India had lot of small kingdoms, right? So many of those kings are also going in, right? So Arjuna is able to see some of his near and dear ones also, Bhishmaha, Dronaha. If you remember in the first chapter, Arjuna was disturbed because he realized he was going to kill Bhishma and Drona, right? So, of course, in between, he sees Sutaputra Karnaha, who is Arjuna's rival number 1, right? So, Sutaputraha tata asau Karna also. Sahasma diyai api Yodamukyaihi, right? Yodamukyaihi along with many great warriors belonging to our army also, right? So the sentence basically is incomplete here. You have to add Vaktrani Vishanti. All these people are also entering into your fierce mouth, which is the scorching mouth. Vaktrani te tvaramana vishanti, Vaktrani te tvaramana vishanti, Damshtrakaralani bhayanukani, Damshtrakaralani bhayanakani, Kechid vilagna dashanantareshu, Kechid vilagna dashanantareshu, Sandrishyante churnitairuttamaangaihi, Sandrishyante churnitairuttamaangaihi. So it will get over in another few verses. Don't worry, I'll try and complete it. So Vyasacharya is zooming further, right? And he says, the height of the horror, right? We can quickly skip the sloka, but for completion's sake, let me complete. Tvaramana, in a hurry, I see warriors of both sides rushing into the mouth of yours, and Damshtra Karalani, with sharp teeth, you're actually grinding and scorching heat. Bhayanakani, it is fierce and frightening, right? And Bhagavan is not swallowing all of them straight away. Then it is simple, right? So what happens is, as one gets to 60, 70, 80 years old, the major prayer is Anayasena Maranam. I should just go to sleep and I should pass away. This is the prayer of most old people, right? So that is the indication that God is giving here. Instead of swallowing directly, there are some who get caught in the teeth and all that. And Arjuna is able to see that in the Vishwarupa Darshana, right? So some Bhagavan is chewing and some of them are partially crushed. So Kechit Vilagnaha Dashanantareshu. Dashana means the molar teeth of the Lord or the sharp teeth, right? Sandrishyante Churnitaihi Uttamangaihi. Their head is caught between the teeth and totally getting massacred, right? This is also part of Vishwarupa Ishvara. So death, suffering, right? Diseases, right? All of this is also part of Ishvara only, right? So Uttamanga means the heads getting crushed, Churnitam, right? So we'll continue. Yata nadinam bahavombuvegaha, Yata nadinam bahavombuvegaha, Samudramevabhimuka dravanti, Samudramevabhimuka dravanti, Tata tavami naraloka viraha, Tata tavami naraloka viraha, Vishanti Vaktranyabhivijwalanti, Vishanti Vaktranyabhivijwalanti. So here Arjuna gives two examples in verses 28 and 29. One is the example of rivers, right? In 28, he points out all the rivers originate from the ocean only. And if you see, at the time of summer, the heat of the sun causes the evaporation of oceanic water. They alone become the clouds and they will be carried by the winds, and during the rainy season they pour down, and in the mountain slopes they become rivers, and the rivers which originated from the ocean, they are traveling again towards the ocean only. So all the rivers, right from the time of their birth, they are traveling towards their source only. And not only are they born, they resolve back into the ocean only, dropping their individuality. Similarly, all the living beings also originate from the Lord only, and whether we like or not, we are all traveling towards that Lord only. And at the time of Pralayam, again they will merge, right? Just as the rivers merge into the ocean, all these people are merging into the Lord, symbolized again by Bhagavan swallowing them. So this is the first example. Nadinam Bahavombu Vegaha. Many streams and tributaries of several rivers, Abhimukha Dravanti. They all gush forth towards the Samudra, Samudrameva, right? Abhinara Loka Viraha. Tata. In the same way, the soldiers, many of them who are kings of several kingdoms, they are also Vishanti, entering Abhivijwalanti Vaktrani, your mouth which is blazing with the fire in your mouth, right? So, what happens before entering into the Lord? We all get attached to our individuality, and not only we love our individuality, we get attached to so-called other rivers also, as Swamiji puts it, right? Your tributaries and everything. You say brother river, uncle river, auntie river, mother river, child river, etc. Right? So the ahankara, mamakara, right, is a result of these attachments, right? So when you once ahankara and mamakara comes, merging into the Lord is no more seen as good news. You look at it as bad only, right? It appears terrible, and we get wild towards Bhagavan only. Therefore, Abhivijwalanti Vaktrani Vishanti, right? Meaning the blazing mouth of the Lord, they are all entering, right? Here, Abhivijwalanti is actually Shatru for people who are interested in the Sanskrit part, right? So it is the Bahuvachanam form, Abhivijwalanti, right? And Vaktrani, neuter gender, right? It should be translated as blazing mouth of the Lord, right? That they are entering, mouths of the Lord, basically, right? Continuing, Yata pradiptam jwalanam patangaha, Yata pradiptam jwalanam patangaha, Vishanti nashaya samudra vegaha, Vishanti nashaya samudra vegaha, Tataiva nashaya vishanti lokaha, Tataiva nashaya vishanti lokaha, Tavapi vaktrani samudra vegaha, Tavapi vaktrani samudra vegaha. So the previous example was that of river, which is achetana prapancham, a non-living thing. Here it is a living thing example, which is the flies and moths of insects which go around the flame, right? So when there is a flame with oil, you can see immediately several insects and flies come there. Without knowing that they are falling to their own distress, they all rush towards that light. So similarly, here also the Kauravas, if only they were dharmic, they need not have died now, because of their own karma, they have invited the destruction. Therefore, the example of moth representing the Chetana Prapancha is given here. Patanga means moth. Patanga, right? Vishanti, they enter they enter the lamp and die, right? They voluntarily go and die. Similarly, Nashaya, right? Samudra Vegaha, with increased speed, a speed of ocean, they go towards the flame and fall into their destruction. Nashaya, right? Tataiva Lokaha means all these people representing the soldiers on both sides. Vishanti Tavapi Vaktrani, they enter the blazing mouth of yours with increased speed, Samudra Vegaha. Even though Lord Krishna made this last attempt, you remember, of going as a messenger for reconciliation. So Krishna asked for 5 villages. Even that he refused, Duryodhana. Then he said, give 5 houses for the Pandavas. He refused. Then he said, okay, give 1 house with 5 bedrooms. Even that they refused. He refused. Then Krishna said, okay, 1 room with a few chairs. Even that Duryodhana refused, right? I will not give even a place for a pin, right? So Duryodhana himself voluntarily invited this terrible Maranam. Therefore, he says, Samudra Vegaha, these people are entering into your mouth, just like the patangas are going towards the destruction, their own destruction, right? Yeah, so I guess I'll stop here. With actually the next two verses, this portion of fear is over. So if people who are worried about listening to such verses, it's over with next two verses, so nothing to worry. So we'll complete today's class with Purnamada and we'll continue in the next class. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yeah, there are some questions here. Okay. Why Lord Krishna is giving this kind of darshana to Arjuna, that too at the battlefield? Why? Why is he doing it? What is the background, right? So, if you see, we have completed in the first 6 chapters Jiva Swarupam, right? So, Ishvara, he has tried various angles. He has given advices as to why he must fight. We saw different angles in chapter 2, right? From Dharmika Drishti, from a spiritual angle, then from a Laukika Drishti, how Arjuna should fight the war, etc. Now, he has come to a stage where Arjuna is still not able to see the world itself as the creation of the Lord, right? So, Lord as the creation. So, Bhagavan has to show him that as the Aneka Rupa Ishvara, I represent all the good and bad things, not just the good things, right? And also he is wanting to say that there is something called Kala Tattvam. I administer the law of karmas, and what Duryodhana has done for himself is brought upon himself, right? Through his adharmic ways. You are one player and you do have a free will, but as per the prarabdha also, he is going to suffer this kind of end. So he just wants to show all of that in the quickest possible manner, and this is the only way he could have done it, because we are talking about the battlefield, right? That is why I think it answers both your question, right? So that is the reason why he's showing this in the battlefield, so that Arjuna, if you know, has been treating him as a charioteer first, right? As a friend, saying you do this, you do that, move my chariot here. So from that, he has come to a stage where he takes him as a guru, and now as the ultimate Bhagavan, he surrenders, right? So finally, this journey, in order to come, it takes a while, and therefore this Vishwarupa Ishvara Darshanam was required. And remember one thing, Arjuna was not prepared in the natural way for this darshanam. God had to bless him specifically because Arjuna asked for it, right? So we must remember that, right? He wanted to see this darshanam. Any other questions? I don't see any other hands up symbols here. Yeah, so in case you found today's class too much of this kind of description, it will end with another 1 or 2 shlokas. After that, it will be okay. Okay, I think there are no hands up here, and there are no other questions also. Okay, so next week, 8:20, we will meet, and of course, we will chant the Rakshogna shlokas that time.